Well, when the name Ruby Wax comes to mind, we think sassy and smart comedian, actress and TV host. Famous for her no-holds-barred style, she got under the skin of a future president.
Well, I think it's somewhat of a comedy show to start off.
No, you know, I've done
You're looking for laughs, so you want to try and make me look as bad as possible.
I don't
That's
think
okay.
I am, Donald.
You know what?
These days, armed with a master's degree from Oxford, Ruby is a mental health activist, combining her own experience of depression with comic relief. She's making matters of the mind more accessible and more understandable.
Very much. Thank you. 1 in 4 people suffer from some sort of mental illness. So if it was 1, 2, 3, 4, it's you, sir, you.
Now the American is down under with her one-woman show. It's called Frazzled. Somewhat a science lecture with laughter. Ruby is sharing the secret of how to be less stressed in the modern world. Ruby Wax joins us live in the studio. Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Less stress in the modern world. That's what we all want, right?
Yeah. Oh, I thought we were going to talk about Trump.
Oh,
Should we start with Trump?
You run it. It's your time
No,
to
but
shine.
let's get him out of the way, okay?
Oh, you want to get Trump out of the way? Why?
Get
What
him
have
out
you got
of...
to- what have you got to say
No,
about
I was on his plane many years ago, and we were at 33,000 feet, and he told me he wanted to be president of the United States, so I started laughing, as you would, and he said, land the plane, I want her out of here. So now I'm with my camera crew in Arkansas, and we
So
had to
they
find him.
actually
She's
downed
dumped-
the plane
He
and
dumped me. In Arkansas, of all places.
Lucky he landed first. He does appear like he'd be someone
Yeah,
who
he
pushed
didn't
someone
pull.
out of a...
He
You're
didn't
right.
pull the chute. But I
Wow.
thought, what a joke! And he didn't have the full roadkill. He had like one nose here and wind it around his head, like those ice creams.
And now that
Let's talk. That's enough airtime. Let's get up back
no, well,
to
now
me.
that he actually did achieve it, I mean, how are you about
So
that?
proud of my people. So proud. Thank you. Yeah. Should
All
have
right.
taken him out then.
You've spoken about your breakdown in the past and suffering from depression.
Well, no, let me just say, now everybody's talking about their breakdown, okay?
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yes.
So I say, find your own disease, because that was my turf. Herpes, go with it. The musical. But I'm not doing, the only reason I did a show about mental illness and made it funny, please, was that Comic Relief put a poster up of me, you know, Comic Relief, that said
yes.
all over the tube stations that said 1 in 4 people have mental illness, 1 in 5 people have dandruff. I have both. And they didn't tell me because they were raising money for a mental health charity. So I threw myself in front of the posters. And then I thought, I'm in trouble here. So I decided I'm going to write a show and pretend that's my publicity poster.
Perfect.
So I had to
always
write a
thinking.
show. Yeah, I didn't want to get fired from work, you know. So it was taboo. So I wrote the show, and first I did mental institutions, obviously to check it with my people. And I used to say, the bipolars used to say, I laughed, I cried. Those were my reviews. The show took off. It came here, and you realized everybody understood. So then I was interested in how the human mind works, because even if you don't have a mental health problem, everybody has critical thoughts, like I could have, I should. I'm sure you have it. Now I'm not good enough. And I thought, well, where does that come from? Right, you know, right now I'm thinking, I've never thought, what a wonderful thing I'm doing, and may I say how attractive I am today. It's never come in. Right. So I was curious about why do we think this way? So I thought, let's go the horse's mouth. So I found out who had the most interesting way of dealing with it, and it turned out to be cognitive therapy and mindfulness, which sounded way too vegetarian. But I hunted down the founder. He was a professor at Oxford, and I went to him, and I said, tell me what happens in the brain. Don't give me the angel cards, because if I can't see it, I don't believe it. And he said, you'd have to get into Oxford. So I did, and nobody was as surprised as that man. And you know, what's so weird is I was not smart as a kid, you know. But what I was a great failure, and I'm always thinking teachers should teach kids how to be great failures, you know, because
As in, you got yourself up.
because we're the ones that
off.
think out of the box. They don't even know there is a box, and now everybody says, oh, you know, all those girls I went to high school with, and they got straight A's, and they were cheerleaders, and they're going to do so well. Well, now they're all crack whores, and I got into Oxford. But that's not my point. My point is that...
Sorry, all of them or just some of them?
The pretty ones. So anyway, I went to Oxford and I wrote my dissertation and about how your brain, why you think this way, how it meant well, hundreds of thousands of years ago, but right now we don't have the bandwidth to deal with the 21st century.
Right.
I mean, technically, we invented bubble wrap, for God's sake. We're geniuses, but we don't know how to run this machine. So that's the show, but then I do what Bill Bryson does. I spin it into comedy because I like shows where you go, oh, I never thought of that.
Yeah.
And also what to do about it, because that was what I learned at Oxford, but now I turned it into comedy.
Well, what do we do about it, Ruby? Well,
You have to come to see my show or buy my book called A Mindfulness Guide for the Frazzled. You know, we're naive to think there's a pill or there's a weekend workshop on how to heal your inner elf. It's brain fitness. You know, you don't get a six-pack with one sit-up. So the same thing.
Yeah.
If we're going to survive the future, we're going to have to upgrade our minds as much as we did technology.
Spending time studying
Do I
that-
talk fast or what?
I love it. I love it.
I'm
so
still
much
in London
ground.
because I only got here yesterday.
Yeah, right, you're still upside down.
I'm in the airplane.
Studying that, did that help you deal with your own issues once you had a full and more comprehensive understanding of what was going on in your own
I think
head?
knowledge is power,
Yeah.
and nothing is 100%.
Yeah.
But not everybody at Oxford had depression, but it does cover mindfulness and cognitive therapy, which I studied both.
Yeah.
It has the most successful rates with anxiety, being frazzled, which, by the way, is a word,
Yeah.
which doesn't mean you're stressed. You have to be stressed, otherwise we'd still be, in Alabama playing the banjo. We'd still be on all fours. But what the contemporary illness is, we're getting stressed about stress, Why didn't Bob call me back? He didn't call me back. Because this internal dialogue is new.
Yeah.
And that's what's killing us. And I literally mean we can't shut off the stress, and that leads to every disease going.
Yeah.
So, and
it's
we
so
take it
true.
like, oh, I'm stressed, people say, how are you doing at work? I go, I've had a quadruple bypass, I'm on life support. They go, you must be so successful. The busier you are, the more, the more kudos.
Yeah, well,
And that's a disease.
Yeah.
Well, first she wrote the book, and this is it. It's called Frazzled, and then now it's on stage as well with Ruby delivering.
So you can buy
her
the
own-
book
yeah.
and see me in the flesh and
Fantastic.
eat me in the flesh and draw me in the flesh.
And then you can go to Alabama and play a banjo on
Yes,
all fours.
with all due respect to our Alabama
I
viewers
love
this
Alabama,
morning.
by
We
the
have
way.
got it's part of our biggest demographic, banjo playing people in Alabama. Love this show.
It's sweet and it's home. For tour dates and tickets to Ruby Wax's show Frazzled,
Did I get a lot in?
just
a lot in.
head to our website.
Got so much in, we've had to cancel the back half of the show.
Doesn't matter.
But it doesn't matter. Coming up for you, the latest Wheel of Fortune.